Hey guys, it's Jason with your Hopium Free Crypto channel. Today we're going to update a lot of charts. We've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, and Cardano to have a touch on again. We've done a Cardano video recently today, so go and check that out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon so you can see this time-sensitive content as it comes out. And of course, like the video. It helps the channel out a lot and the video. I put a lot of time into these, so appreciate a little like if you can spare that second. All right. Let's dive across to the charts and update a lot of these prices as the markets have begun to show some more signs of bullish action. Starting with Bitcoin, our level was 60,500 as a key level for bullish momentum. I posted this on YouTube on the community page so you guys can keep track of it. You can see from here that we have not crossed that 60,500 yet. We've been rejected at 58,000 a couple of times. We dumped after the second rejection. I was waiting for that. I just didn't look like we were about to head up for the reasons that the volume is just dying on that move from this low. We could see this 11 days down. We called this part here of the dump and the market continued down for 11 straight days. And that's why I think this period is going to take a little more time to recover. And I've mentioned this in previous videos. A lot of people calling for a straight up bull market from here. I think the alts are going to get their run because Ethereum is doing quite well and Bitcoin is just trading sideways. It's in a safe range now. It's in a little safe zone. And I've talked about this zone here, 60,500. I think if we get above that, people are going to be more bullish on Bitcoin because it gets above the day where the whole scare took place, where there was a change in market sentiment. So right now we're sideways. So it's like, what do I do? Let's go and trade some altcoins. And that's also helping out Doge. Doge is going nuts. But for the market read on a daily chart, the next piece I had here was first signs of weakness was less than 54,000. I like to see the signal of the close and then a following day. I mentioned that in every video as well. So this day, the 4th of May, we had the breakdown. We hit 53,000. We closed at 53,000. The following day, snap back. Now, I was talking about this region being an area that we'll probably see sideways action for a little period of time. Could be a few days, could be a few weeks. Right now, we have done at least 21 days in this region. And previously, from all of these previous dips, we're getting close to the period of how long the market stays underneath these levels. So the longest ones we had were about 31 days in this bull market. And I made a call already that I think will probably be under this high for a little longer than 31 days. So this might be the longest period that we're underneath the current Bitcoin all-time high for. And I say that because we've had 11 straight days down. None of these had 11 days down. The market has dropped the most it has in all of these periods, not in terms of a percentage, but in terms of a dollar value. And I know percentage is important, of course, but this kind of spooks people going from a 65K to a 47K. It almost sounds like $20,000 drop. And remember, just 4 months ago, the total amount of Bitcoin, the value of one Bitcoin was only 20 grand. Now we're doing that in just one correction. That's absolutely wild for a lot of people. And to have bought in the 60s and then see your investment hit in the 40s, it kind of plays with your psychology in the game, and you really need to keep that psychology strong if you're going to survive in a bull market. So the pieces to this next puzzle of Bitcoin, like I've said, sideways is what I'm looking for here. I think that will help the altcoin season if we see another season. We're definitely seeing a drop on Bitcoin dominance. This is obvious. This was a sideways, there's a little triangle, descending triangle, got the breakdown that we're expecting. I'm looking at it in terms of a double top. So this is Gann analysis, Gann theory again. There's a top, major bottom to a major top, and the 150% was the target, smashed it, and the next target is 200%. This is circled in how long ago? Circled in back in January, because that's the way these work. It's a double top and you look for 200% of that range. Next target, 42%. Not far from that now. We're at 46. I think we've touched into the 45s already. So it's a few percent off the 200% target. The thing I use these for is to find areas of potential support. And so if we get a support on this level, then that's obviously going to bring money back into Bitcoin, and then the alts might not be pumping as hard. So that's how I play these two to understand what's going on. So that's Bitcoin. That's the Bitcoin dominance. Let's move down the ladder and have a look at Ethereum. Ethereum USD is getting close to its all-time high again. This is the obvious reason of why Bitcoin dominance has dropped off so much. We have just gone through to another all-time high, I think, in the last couple of hours. So that was at $3,548. $3,550 was yesterday, so that was just a couple of hours ago, and the previous day, which was the 4th, only got to 3,534. So yesterday, just a couple of hours ago, that was the highest we have seen Ethereum so far. So it's obvious that we're getting a lot of exuberance in the altcoin market because Ethereum is just tearing away. From these lows, this was the April dumps, and this was a really nice pickup because the second low was not as low as the first dump. I'll go back to that in a sec. We're up 70% already. The reason why this is so important, I don't like, people will probably just skip well and truly over this, but it's in the fine detail. So we don't need to get so into things, but the fine detail shows that Ethereum was about to blow up at this point. We had the correction. So this was the day that Bitcoin freaked the hell out. Everyone freaked out. We had a video on the channel saying market's going to drop. Exactly what happened. Not having too much of a gloat here, but I need to do some gloating. This day dumped. Few days up. The market went to new all-time highs while Bitcoin was going down. The next day was a dump. Massive volume. Didn't go as low as the 18th. Whereas Bitcoin, remember if we saw that, this is all leading into the whole alt season. This is the whole picture and how the story is being told in the charts as opposed to the news. Look at this. 23rd, we dumped lower on Bitcoin. And then we dumped even lower on the 25th. So this was a nice prime time for a turnaround because the volume started to dry up. Not as many sellers anymore. And then we sprung back into action. That's why we're going sideways at the moment because we're still trying to figure out, are we bull or bear on Bitcoin? While Bitcoin decides, let's get on with the altcoins. And of course, not ETC, but Ethereum USD, it didn't have that extra dump. There's the 23rd, there's the 25th. It had higher lows on each of those days. That is a sign of strength, and Ethereum has done that multiple times in this bull market. The bull market started from March 20th. You could argue there's probably a couple of other starting points that people will argue, maybe when it breaks its all-time high at 1400, but I like to look at it from the low because that's how the whole build-up of the story happens. And so it's happened quite a few times since that point, and there were other reasons why I was looking at it as a very strong play. Just as a recap, it happened again here. Check this out. Just so you can see these patterns happen and then use it across other markets. We'll get into some of these other altcoins as well, as I've mentioned. The dump, massive volume, market recovers, it tries to take out the low that had huge support, couldn't do it. What happens next? History shows us that we were just up and up and up and up. I'm not saying this exact percentage is going to repeat, but if you can spot these patterns, then you're going to do a hell of a lot better than, I would say, 95% of people in the crypto space, because you know yourself, they do not follow charts. They look at news. They don't know what the hell they're doing. It's just a wild game out there half of the time in the bull market, 99% of the time in a bull market. So if you just start to track these little patterns, you will really exceed very well and beat the majority of people because they just do not take the time to study. It's really that simple. Patience is what I talk about often, and it takes time, but you'll figure it out, definitely. ETH BTC, we've just been on a skyrocket run here. We've got huge volume at these highs. We are holding up, but I'm not saying that we're going to hold this forever. At some point, we need a correction. This is why it's easier to get into the market at these levels. We have accumulation, we have a break. This day, 2nd of April, breaks the high, accumulates above the high. It breaks again, breaks these highs, accumulates again. All right, this is kind of like the market telling you, here's your chance, here's your second chance. I might give you one more, but I'm not promising it, and then we take off. And then most people want to get in up here. This is a hard time to tell what's going on. It pretty much just keeps going and going, but the risk is much higher because now you're risking all of this downside. People were buying up here. The market was telling you, people are buying, people are buying, people are buying. Now we've doubled in our ETH BTC pair. Some of these people might want to sell. So pay particular attention to the markets when they go quiet. Ethereum is looking quite strong. Obviously there'll be a correction at some point. We have extended, which is a good sign for a continuing bull market. See these ranges from the low to the high here. That was about 0.02 of a move. Yep, 0.02. And now we've done 0.03. 0.033. So the actual range is extending, and that's a good sign. We'll get a pullback at some point. All right, so I've talked about Bitcoin and what's going on, why I'm thinking there's an alt season. Let's have a look at Cardano. I've put a video up on this, so check that video out. It's a lot of detail. So I'm going to cover the other charts just briefly, because Cardano is looking strong against Bitcoin. Now you can start to see these patterns play out. We're getting some volume profile. Look at this. Volume moved up, broke the highs. I think this market is telling me, nothing is 100%, but I think it's telling me that we're about to go. We might be about to go, at least against the Bitcoin pair. ADA, ETH. We've seen some volume pick up at this low. Ethereum has just crushed everything. This was the day that I was talking about selling Ethereum, selling Cardano, and people got absolutely annoyed at me in the comments. I don't care. Sell. I can be buying my Ethereum, and I'm not sitting out losing 60% of my Ethereum value, my possible Ethereum value. I didn't sell all my Cardano, but I sold some of it, and I could buy Ethereum and ride this thing out. I'm not having a go at the people who didn't do it. It's mostly the people who get triggered about selling for profits at highs. This is why most people will lose in a bull market, because they will say you're calling FUD or spreading some other nonsense. It's freaking garbage. Absolute amateurs, I would say. So don't pay attention to that. Read a chart and you'll learn yourself as well. All right, ADA, USD, looks like we're breaking out. Talked about this in that video in a lot of detail. I've got a lot of reasons why. So this is ADA versus DOT. It's finding some support, and we're beginning to climb up a little further against Polkadot. Obviously, if Polkadot takes off, then this is going to get absolutely crushed. The hard part with trading Cardano against a lot of these other altcoins is they tend to move at the same time. Not saying Litecoin does, but some of the smart contracts will move at the same time, and so they're all just going to be range bound. So you're probably going to make about the same in terms of profits, but you might gain against the Bitcoin value, and then you sell out for profits into Bitcoin and hold the Bitcoin, because eventually these will probably drop and then they'll lose value against the Bitcoin value, but the Bitcoin will hold its Bitcoin. You'll always have that same amount of Bitcoin. Maybe you'll lose some dollar value, and that's why you then have some stable coin value, so you can buy some more Bitcoin and repeat the cycle. Against Litecoin, it's had a recent dump because Litecoin's had a few days up, so we're on a daily chart. This might be turning around, but I think Litecoin is well and truly overdue for some sort of move. We had some volume. It's not the best chart that I want to bet my life on, that's for sure. So I'm just not paying as much attention to it, but I can see some volume come in, and we're trying to start to push up at some point. Quite weak at this point. ADA Solana, it's looking reasonably strong. We're starting to see some swings up, some more volume come in. Cardano could potentially outperform Solana. I've said that right. And so far, from this absolute low to this point, Cardano has increased 45% against Solana. So ADA has been the better investment for the last week and a few days than holding Solana. Now, Link is the next one I want to have a look at, because that has been touching new all-time highs, $47.76 currently. The last 2 days, big ranges, massive volume. You know what this means? This might just be another sideways period like we saw on Cardano. I've talked about that as well. Big volume on the break. The close was not that convincing. However, it did close. This is the small, subtle detail. It did close at $45.53, which puts it the highest close in Link's history. So that is a sign of strength, but it needs to be coupled with a few other pieces to the puzzle. We are at all-time highs. It's closed at its highs. It had strong volume as it pushed to highs. That's 3. And the downside to it is we may have peaked at our 161% level for the time being. This has just started to do its stair-stepping up. So buying in as it broke these levels, these highs here at $15, $16, it hasn't been massive gains, but it has been steady gains, and it has nearly tripled. So that's a pretty good investment for the last 1, 2, 3, 4 and a bit months, or around 4 months. Link BTC is the standout here. From that low, we have increased our Bitcoin value by about 125%. I spoke about this on the channel in January on those videos because this looked like it was bottoming. we got some volume up, we got higher low, and then we broke out on high volume. So I like the level of 50,000 Satoshis as a buy. Then when the market came back down, found support on these old highs, broke above again, more buying, more buying. I bought a little bit here just as a bit of a gamble, but this was the breakout, this was the signal, and now we're all the way up here at 83,000 Satoshis. So Link has been a better investment than Bitcoin for this period since January. Link ETH, on the other hand, hasn't gone anywhere and has been sideways since that period. So Ethereum has been the better hold than Link, but we may have seen a bit of a turnaround because we've got a double bottom, big bottom here. We've hit that double bottom, a beautiful bar pattern where we've smashed down and then pushed right back up on extreme volume. So that's this light gray here. Look at the volume. It's all the way up here. And if I spread out the chart, there is I can just see it. We haven't had volume like this since we got to these previous highs. Now we're seeing the same volume at the lows. The only thing that has me concerned is yesterday's bar, which was big volume, smacked, it went right up, got pushed up really high, and then got smacked back down. That's the thing that has me concerned. But we're at low levels at the moment. So there's always going to be some of that volatility and possible shakeouts at this point. So I'm not betting the house on it just yet, but I do like the look of this pattern, especially at a double bottom. It's hard because Ethereum also has a lot of strength to it at the moment, but that's part of the game. I think they're both pretty good long term. The other coins, let's have a look at Litecoin. Now these are showing signs that yes, we're all starting to swing back in. Litecoin pushed to new highs yet again, 600,000 Satoshi. So this is on the Bitcoin chart. So we want to make sure we're increasing in Bitcoin value, because otherwise you hold Litecoin and you get dumped upon for how many days? 300, 400, 700. That's 407. That's 1,100 days down. 1,100 days is like 3 years. You've lost Bitcoin value for 3 years. That's what I talk about often when I'm looking at Litecoin. I'm only using it as a flip. 86% loss on your Bitcoin value, even though the dollar value is going up. You could just hold Bitcoin and have less stress and less risk. Now we're starting to see a climb out of this low, and I think this is definitely, well, I'm going to say I think this is the move out of the low, because we've seen it once before, but this wasn't a bull market. So that's possibly why we had a dip on the BTC pair. But we're now seeing this in a bull market, so the sentiment has changed. We're going up in a bull market, so it makes life a lot easier. So that's why I like Litecoin, but like I've said to the guys in the group and posting about it on Twitter, I don't want to be in Litecoin. This thing might go up to these levels of, 1.6 million Satoshis, but I'm riding Ethereum during this period rather than being stuck in this coin here. The returns from that are okay. They're good. There's a 170% return on your Bitcoin, but I'm in Ethereum. I'm cool with that. So you just got to choose what you're happy with, and it's something that I would be happier holding Ethereum if it went against me than holding Litecoin. So Litecoin ETH, that was the other chart here. It's starting to have a little bit of a go against ETH as well, so maybe it's going to outperform ETH overall. It's got a bit of volume, so that's looking good. Hopefully for the Litecoin holders, it can break above another 700-day downtrend. That's just sad. It's had lost all its value against Ethereum. If you were holding it from 2019, you've lost about 83% of your Ethereum value. So that's why in long term, I don't like Litecoin as a hold. It's a great pump, and get rid of it. Drop it off. Let someone else get married to it and take your profits. So I've looked at Litecoin, Link, Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin, explained what we're looking at when it comes to an altcoin season, the reasons why some of the major coins which have had altcoin season and shown signs of why that could be happening. The last thing I want to look at is Doge. Doge is absolutely wild, and we've seen it hit to new all-time highs just yesterday against Bitcoin value, 1,200 Satoshis. I never in my wildest dreams thought Doge would ever get to 4 figures in Satoshis. I'm looking at this against Bitcoin value because its history has been down here. Its history has been between 15 Satoshis and about 200, maybe more around 100, 150 Satoshis. So it was doing nice 10x's. You could easily 10x your Bitcoin. Now we have just seen it nearly 7,000% return on Bitcoin value. On a US dollar value, it's a lot more. And we're going to measure that. It is somewhere around 14,500%. Obviously, we've got the news coming out on the weekend. Well, at least Elon Musk doing his little skit, the Doge Father skit on Saturday Night Live. So I suspect we might see some sort of pullback after that. It's more of a buy the rumor, sell the news. The rumor went nuts when he announced it on Twitter. Put a tweet up about Dogecoin again. So we'll just see what happens. We had 2 big volume days into this new all-time high. Dogecoin in the past, what has it done? We're just going to measure the days like I've talked about many times before. This is kind of the first break. See the volume here, or this day. So I'll measure both. That gives us 15 days to the top. And then this is the next day here with huge volume. The volume is all of the interest coming in from the retail. You might be retail and you're hearing about it for the first time. It had 5 days from that news, this big volume, to the top. If you want to call that one another semi-top, which is a lower swing, which is weakness, 8 days. 5 to 8 days, at best about 7, one extra day, we'll count that, about 15 days, okay? What we have seen so far from this low to the top is 12 days. So we've got 3 days to go, which basically lines up with Saturday Night Live. That's probably around the max that we'll see. And I suspect if we don't wait until the exact showing of Saturday Night Live and the Doge Father skit, we'll probably dump a day before that, maybe 24 to 48 hours before that skit. It's happened so many times before in crypto. People are just front running the sell. Be aware, enjoy the ride. Let's measure it from this day here. This was probably the skit day, I believe, the 28th of April when the tweet was out. There's 7 days, all right? So maybe we've got 1 or 2 more days left. Stay safe, enjoy the ride. If you enjoy this content, understanding how to learn, read markets, let me know. Hit the like button down below if you want to see more of this content. Subscribe, of course, bell notification icon. Join the newsletter, free newsletter. Leave your email address down below. There is a link to that in the description. 1 every 2 weeks, we're coming at you, teaching you how to read these charts so you can get in, be safe, make some money, all that sort of stuff so you can learn for yourself. Plus the Investor Accelerator course and membership is down below so you can join a community of like-minded individuals. Stay up to date with all of the meme coins and the cryptos that are going nuts. Link to that down below. If you want to trade this stuff, SwiftX is down there. Binance link is down there. Get your $10 free or 10% off if you use Binance. $10 free if you use SwiftX. Blockfolio if you want to trade. I've got so many things down there. Go and check it out. Sounds like a bit of an ad at the end here, but there's a lot of good stuff to use because you guys ask. I'll catch you guys at the next video. Thanks again. Until next time, have more fun to get more done.